We will continue our Kevalashtakam seminar series, which we have begun last week. So today we will take the text 4. So first we will sing and then we'll try to get into the discussion of it. So as usually, I'll begin in English and then I'll take up in Telugu. And then as per the time, we will see whether I will translate or Raghunath Puridas Prabhu translate. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम् पावनं पावनेभ्योऽपि हरे नामेव केवलम् हरे नामेव केवलम् आब्रह्मस्तम्भपर्यन्तं सर्वं मायामयं जगत् सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यं हरे नामेव केवलम् हरे नामेव केवलम् सगुरो सपिता चापि समता बन्धवोऽपि सह शिक्षये चेत् सदा स्मर्तुं हरे नामेव केवलम् हरे नामेव केवलम् निश्वासे नाहि विश्वासः कदा रुद्धो भविष्यति कीर्तनीयमतो बाल्यात् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरि सदा वसेत् तत्र यत्र भागवता जनाः गायन्ति भक्तिभावेन हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् अहो दुःखं महादुःखं दुःखदुःखतरं यतः काचार्थं विस्मृतं रत्न हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् दीयतां दीयतां कर्णो नियतां नियतां वचः गीयतां गीयतां नित्यं हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् त्रीणि कृत्य जगत् सर्वं राजते सकलोपरि चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धं हरेर्नामेव केवलम् Hare Namev Kevalam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we will see about the text 4, which says Nishvase nahi veshvasaha kadarutha bhavishyate kirtaniyamato bharyat hare nameva kevalam hare nameva kevalam. There is no certainty when the last breath will come and put an abrupt halt to all one's material plans. Therefore, it is wise to always practice chanting from very childhood. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. So, Nishvase means that we take breath out. So, when we take breath in, that is Shvasa, and when we take breath out, that is Nishvasa. So, what this verse is saying that when we take breath in, there is no certainty that we will breathe out. Now, death can actually befall on us at any moment. Death can come at any moment. And among the different ways that we can die, actually stopping of breath is something which we don't even notice. We are breathing every day, we are just going on, but we don't know that, one day that breathing can stop and we can die. When we were going through the pandemic, when there was COVID, people were actually struggling to breathe. What they could naturally breathe all the time, that time they had to put some external support so that they can breathe. And they had a fear that, my breath will stop, I'll not be able to breathe, and my breath will stop and I might die. So they all had the fear of death. And what this verse is saying, because we do not have any certainty or any guarantee about the next breath, so kirtaniya mato balyat, so forcefully also chant the holy name right from the childhood. Okay. Why? Because Hare Nameva Kevalam, the holy name is everything. Now, the meditation on the temporary nature of the material existence is meant to make us purified, not paranoid. So, what does this mean? So, generally, what happened one day, one devotee gave a lecture. He was telling about the topic of death. He was sharing how death can come at any time. And he was using a Vaishnava saying where he says that every day when you wake up in the morning, you should tell yourself that I am going to die today. So let me focus seriously on Krishna. So in that mood, you have to begin the day. So, in that whole assembly, when this devotee was sharing, there was another devotee who was listening to this. So, that devotee did not ask the speaker, but later he asked another devotee. So, if I know that, if I say that I'm going to die and death can come at any time, then why should I go for a job? Okay, why can't I just sit and chant? So why I should go for a job, do all my responsibilities, because death can come at any time, and I'm going with a mood that I am going to die today. So for every awareness, death can come at any time. This is the thing which we have to be aware about. Okay, but for everything that we are aware about, there should be some purpose. So why the devotees say that death can come at any time? What does this practically mean? So imagine that when there is a terrorist attack, okay, and we are in some arena where the terrorists are attacking, then we will have constant thinking, we may die, okay, I may die at any time because the terrorists are over there and they can shoot me and I can die. So we can be paranoid about our death. We are constantly thinking about that we may die. But this is not so conducive for the spiritual life. you know this may make us remember the Lord for some time, but this feeling of death cannot actually progress in our spiritual life. So for any emotion that can be felt in the three modes of nature, Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says happiness can be in three modes, right? Determination can be in three modes. Similarly, every emotion also can be felt in three modes. For example, let us say one person is traveling in a bus, okay, and because the road was not so good and the bus was shaking, okay. So let us say if the person is in the mode of ignorance and he's trying to sleep, and because of that he is not able to sleep properly because the bus was shaking and bumping, and he's looking at the window and he's seeing the green forest, okay, very good greenery, very amazing greenery and all. So because this person is in the mode of ignorance and he's trying to sleep, when he sees the greenery he will start thinking, oh, such a nice forest, such a nice greenery, such a cool breeze is coming, I can go there and sleep nicely. So he was thinking like that. Now in that same bus there is another person who is in the mode of passion and he is watching a movie, okay. And when he sees that he's not able to watch movie properly because bus was shaking and all, and he sees the green forest, then he sees like he's in a romantic mood, okay. So he thinks like, if I would have a partner, then I would have just enjoyed romancing in the forest. So this is what a person in mode of passion is thinking. And there is another person who is in the mode of goodness and he was trying to read a book. And then when this bus was shaking and bumping, he looked at the green forest and he thought like, such a beautiful place, I can go over there and I can peacefully read the book and I can learn so many things. So same green forest, but it has looked different for these three people. The person in the mode of ignorance wanted to go and sleep. The person in the mode of passion wanted to romance with some partner. And the person in the mode of goodness, he wanted to read a book, he wanted to learn. So same forest, but different response. Similarly, when we say that, death can come at any time, same this concept can be taken in three modes. Suppose if the person in the mode of ignorance, when we say that to him that, death can come at any time, then he will start becoming paranoid. He will start thinking like, I may die at any time, I may die at any time. And he's constantly worried about the death. Okay. So there are some people who are always worried that, they can get some disease. Maybe they can die. Maybe they already have a serious disease. So like that kind of paranoid thing will be there. Okay. So what does this paranoid means? Like constantly thinking that, something I am going to happen to me, something wrong is going to happen to me, right? He's always paranoid about that. So in a medical literature, there was a case where there was a lady who was going to doctor every month to check up whether she got cancer or not, because she was paranoid and she was thinking that, I am getting cancer, okay, and I might get cancer very soon, so I don't want her to go and check up. So she continued to do monthly checkups for almost 23 years, and after 23 years finally she got cancer. And you know what she said to doctor? Doctor, I was right. I was expecting this and it came. So I am right. So she was like thinking, whatever I thought has become true. She was living in that reality. So similarly, when a person in ignorance, when he thinks about the death, he'll keep on thinking like, death can come anytime. So what will happen is, if we are in the mode of ignorance and if we are thinking that, death can come at any time, then we will get so much nervous and so much paranoid, so much fearful, that we will not be able to focus on our spiritual life. Forget about spiritual life, we will not be able to focus on our material life also. If death can can't come at any time, then we will start finding no meaning in whatever we are doing. हमेशा मरने ही वाले, we are going to die, so why I should do this, why I should do that? So we all have some certain responsibilities, certain things to do, right? We have to do it. Just because we think that, death can come at any time, we cannot give up the things. And let us talk about the person who is in the mode of passion. So in general, a devotee says that, youth is temporary, so do not waste it, better you focus on Krishna. Okay, so that is what devotee says. But a person in the mode of passion, what he will think is, youth is temporary, so let me enjoy every moment. Okay, let me forget the world, let me enjoy every moment, because before the youth goes, let me enjoy the youth. Okay, so what he is doing is, the thought of death, what is making him, he is trying to enjoy every moment because he is going to die. So rather than thinking that, death is gonna come and time is less, we should focus on Krishna, what he was thinking, however I'm going to die, so let me enjoy more and more. So this is the thought of the person who is in the mode of passion. Now let's talk about the person who is in the mode of goodness. So when the person is in the mode of goodness, he says that, we understand that there are two realities: material level of reality and spiritual level of reality. And thought of material destructibility, that is death, it should make me focus on something which is permanent, something which is beyond this material nature. So the thought of death should divert our focus from material things to the spiritual things. Okay. And just because thinking, like when we coming back to this devotee who told that, if I'm going to die, then why I should go for a job? Okay, why can't I just sit and chant? So chanting is a process of moving from our material level to the spiritual level. But just chanting will not help us deal with the death, because with the chanting we have to convert our worldview also. If we start thinking about the world in a materialistic way and we start chanting, then this chanting will not give much benefit. So what we have to do, along with the chanting, we should also change our worldview also. Rather than just thinking that happiness comes in only matter, we should also think about, how I can get the pleasure in spiritual things. So we have to change our worldview, we have to change our mindset over there. So that is the reason Srila Prabhupada has not given us only chanting. He has given us A, B, C, D, that is association of devotees, books, chanting, and prasadam. So all these four things why he has given, because just by chanting we cannot change our thought process, right? If we are only thinking that death can come at any time, so let me chant, we will not be able to focus on Krishna, because we'll be more of death conscious than Krishna conscious. So what we have to do, we have to follow the particular process of bhakti so that we can rise ourselves from the material reality to the spiritual reality. And that happens gradually. It is not that abruptly it will happen. So let us think and let us discuss about what happens during chanting. Okay, why this concept of death is so important in chanting. So while we are chanting, chanting means we are directly connecting with Krishna. Okay, so indirectly also we get connected to Krishna through different services, through different processes. But chanting is like directly connecting with Krishna. So when we directly connect with Krishna through holy names, Krishna actually manifests. And what he does, he actually permeates our consciousness. Okay, so he enters into our consciousness. So what will happen while we are chanting? If we are focusing on Krishna directly, then after chanting, when we are busy with other activities, still Krishna will be there in the background and he will be giving us the guidance. But during the chanting, if we are not focusing on Krishna, what will happen? Krishna will not manifest through his holy name and he will not permeate in our consciousness. And because of that, what will happen? When we are doing other activities, it is very unlikely that we can remember Krishna. We will not remember Krishna. So what is the point over here is, like, what I am doing is very important. Like chanting is very important, but we should also remember for whom I am doing, for what I am doing, right? So just like some people only think about external things, okay? They think that, if I be in a special place, if I do some special thing, then things will change for me, life will change for me, right? So external things matters, but what matters more is why we are doing that first thing, and is it worth or not. In general, sometimes when people go to America or Australia or like that from India, generally what they do is, when they go to America, like let us say an Indian going to America, then he'll call everyone, okay, all of his relatives, and he want to inform that he is in America. Okay, so that others will start feeling that he's in a very special place. Yeah, it's a special place, a lot of glamour is there, a lot of money you can make and all. It is a special place. But how long you can enjoy that special place? Because you went to America not to only feel the speciality of that, but you have to do something over there to survive, isn't it? So initially what will happen, I am in a very luxurious place, that makes their feeling fulfilled. But later the things will shift and they'll start thinking, okay, I'm in America or Australia, but what I'm doing here, okay, what I'm doing for my family and all. So all these things will start coming. So the point of sharing this is that, external things like what is happening in the material life matters, but that will only matter initially. But over a period of time, as we grow, then we have to start thinking about what is the purpose of all these material things. And if the purpose of all these material things is not taking us to Krishna, then we are just lost over here. So when Srila Prabhupada was thought like, I should go to America and preach Krishna consciousness, he was very much aware that he is old and he can die at any time. Even he was telling to his disciples that, I'm an old man and I can go away anytime, right? So you have to take up the responsibility. You have to take this mission ahead. So he was always constantly aware that, he is going to die and he is old. And while he was leaving Vrindavan also, where he was going to America on Jaladuta to preach, there he was not only aware about the death, but he also got two heart attacks and he survived those two heart attacks. Actually, it is very difficult to survive two heart attacks, even with the medical assistance. Okay. Even when we have all in our cities, multi-speciality, super specialty hospitals, still it is difficult to survive two heart attacks. And Prabhupada survived even without any medical assistance. Sometimes it is wondering thing that, the whole ship, okay, was going from India to America for, almost 1 month journey, and there was not even one doctor on that particular ship. So why there was no doctor? Because that was a cargo ship, not a passenger ship, right? And Prabhupada has to suffer two heart attacks without any medical assistance. So if he was thinking only about, death, then he could have thought like, leaving the body in Vrindavan is much better than leaving my body somewhere else. So I'm already old and death can come at any time. So let me be in Vrindavan. So he was not thinking about that. What he was thinking is what I am going to do about the instruction of my Guru Maharaj, what I am going to do for Krishna. So the thought of death was there in the background, but that did not stop him from leaving the Vrindavan and going ahead and preaching Krishna consciousness. So many people see externally and they thought like, Prabhupada, you are living Vrindavan, and this is not a good thing. You can die at any time, and I don't think so. Dying in a foreign land, in the Bhoga Bhumi is not a good thing. So better you stay here only. So externally, if we see, Prabhupada was leaving Vrindavan, but internally, if we meditate, then we can understand that Prabhupada did not leave Vrindavan. He actually carried Vrindavan in his heart, and wherever he went, he manifested Vrindavan. Okay, wherever he went, he made that place as Vrindavan. So his consciousness was like, the thought of death did not stop him. The thought of that actually accelerated his preaching of Krishna consciousness. He knows that he has less time and he has to preach more. So his full focus was on preaching about Krishna. So similarly, along with bhakti, we have so many other activities which we have to do. And this thought of death, what it should do, it should make us more focus on Krishna. Okay, it should more focus on, understanding that all these things are temporary, and what we have to focus on is Krishna, who is actually permanent. So while we are chanting, we have to focus on Krishna. Okay, and if you are not focusing on Krishna, then we cannot remember Krishna during other activities, right? So when we are supposed to focus directly on Krishna, where Krishna will start permeating in our consciousness, then we cannot expect him to be in our consciousness when we are doing other activities. For example, let us say a husband and wife are there, and that husband is actually working somewhere else, okay, in a different city. And when he come back home, he tells his wife, I missed you a lot. Though I was there, but I was always thinking about you. Okay. And then when his wife started talking to him, he was looking at the phone, he was looking at the TV, he was looking at here and there. So the wife will say, see, you told me that, when you are away from here, you was constantly thinking about me. But when I am talking to you, you're not even looking at me. So how can I believe that, you are thinking about me when you are there away from me? So some people, they say like, 24 घंटे भगवान का नाम चलते ही रहता है. They say that, yeah, we are remembering Krishna 24 hours. Okay. But you ask them how many rounds they are chanting, they say there is no count. Okay. So when you can think 24 hours about the Lord, then why don't you keep separate time and exclusively think about the Lord, chant his holy names, right? So similarly, if we do not focus while chanting on Krishna, then it is very unlikely that we can remember Krishna other times. So it is very important that we should focus on Krishna while chanting. If we are not focusing, then it is very, very difficult for us to get Krishna's help during other times. We cannot be Krishna conscious while doing a direct activity. If we are not Krishna conscious, while doing indirect activities, There is no guarantee that we can be Krishna conscious. So once what happened, Srila Ramanujacharya asked his Guru Maharaj, okay, you go and ask Varadacharya, because, sorry, Varadarajalu. So you ask the Lord that I am doing bhakti, okay, but what if death can come at suddenly and I may not remember him? So what will be the case then? What will happen to me? So his Guru Maharaj was very exalted person, and he went and asked the Lord. Then Vardarajalu replied him that, when my devotee is dying, okay, even if he is not able to remember me, I will manifest in his consciousness and I will make sure that he will remember me. Okay. And there is no point that, he has to be worried about that death will come and he will not remember me, because the one who is serving me whole life, even though if he is not able to remember the Lord, he remember me at the time of death, still I can manifest in his consciousness and I can make him remember me, right? So actually, we have to, when we listen to this, we have to come to an understanding that when a devotee talks about death can come at any time, it is not to make us fearful or feel insecure, but to enable us to take firm shelter of that one person who will offer shelter even when all the other shelters of the world will go away. While we are dying, only Krishna can help us. Even our spiritual master cannot remember Krishna for us. We have to remember Krishna, right? Our spiritual master can pray for us, he can bless us, but he cannot remember Krishna for us. We have to remember Krishna for ourselves. And whatever shelter today we are taking about our money, about our influence, about our relatives, loved ones, all those shelters will go away at the time of death. The only one shelter will remain, that is Krishna's shelter. So when we think about this death, what we have to think, Krishna is the one permanent thing. He is the one eternal reality I have to focus on. Yes, I have different responsibilities which I have to do, but I have to focus more on Krishna. Then what will happen? I will be able to spiritualize all my other activities also. So while chanting, if I'm able to focus on Krishna, when I'm not chanting, doing my other responsibilities, there is a chance that dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. So Krishna will keep on giving me the intelligence so that I can go to him. So in general, when we talk about dukkhalayam ashashvatam, okay, so dukkhalayam ashashvatam means this world is miserable. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean that we should still be miserable. Okay. Because this holy name is not only something which will help you at the time of death. Okay. It will actually can create immediate relief also. Many of us while chanting, we find relief, right? Many people come and say that, when I chant, actually I feel very much solace, I'm much peaceful, and I feel like, I am secured. Okay, once I stop chanting, there will be insecurities, there will be problems going on. But when I'm Krishna conscious, when I'm chanting properly, I feel that solace, I feel that security. So the chanting of the holy name is not only giving us the shelter at the end of our life, but it can give us immediately also. However, that will not be so strong, that will not continue for a long time, but it has the potential. So what Krishna says when he talks about dukkhalayam ashashvatam, he also talk in that same verse that napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gatah. So you just take shelter of me and you worship me, you chant me, and you need not return to this world. Okay, which is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Just like when we are in a hospital, okay, we see all around misery. All our patients only, all are suffering only. Okay, but when the doctor is coming, he is not telling that, this is hospital and you have to suffer only. What doctor is telling? Doctor is telling, take medicine, participate in the treatment, and you go out of this hospital. So what Krishna is telling by telling that dukkhalayam ashashvatam, what he is telling is, as long as you don't take medicine, that is the holy name, as long as you don't participate in the treatment, that is bhakti, then you will suffer over here. So when we see the temporary nature of everything around us, what we have to remind ourselves is like, I should not focus too much on this. Yes, I have responsibilities to do it, but all of these things are going to go away one day. At the time of death, I have to leave this everything. So when we are chanting, if the material things, material aspects are, deviating us, that time we have to think that, death can come at any time, and I should not focus on all this. Let me focus on the holy name. So it is not that when I say that, nishvase nahi vishwasah kada ruddho bhavishyati. So when I will die, when my breath will stop, this thinking should not be constantly like a noise in our head, but it should be in the background, and it should help us focus on spiritual activities more and more, right? So Bhurijan Prabhu, His Grace Bhurijan Prabhu, has written in his book called as Glorious Master. So in one of the conversation, he asked Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, even after taking up bhakti, why we have to struggle? Why still have to struggle with this modes of nature and all? Can't we just go away from it? So then Prabhupada beautifully says that, when you are not in bhakti, you are in a material ocean, okay? And the waves are tossing you here and there, and they are throwing you right, left, center. But when you come into bhakti, you are not in the material ocean directly, but you are in a boat. But you have to remember that the boat is still there in the material ocean. So the waves will come and they will shake the boat, but you are still safe. And if we consider the example of boat and we'll just make it as a ship, then a ship has a captain, right? And that captain is our spiritual master. So when we follow the spiritual master's instruction, spiritual master is very expert to navigate through the waves of this material ocean, right? So what is his primary instruction? That is, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So if we can follow one instruction of our spiritual master, that always remember Krishna and do not forget Krishna, then what will happen? Though we are in the material ocean, we are in the boat and the boat is shaking, but gradually that shaking will come down. Today we have a lot of anxieties about our death, about our material loss, etc., etc. But that kind of feeling will actually generally decrease, and we will start become stable. And just like, when we are very expert in navigating the boat, the waves will not disturb us. Similarly, as we grow in bhakti, as more and more we focus on Krishna and let Krishna permeate in our consciousness, even the feeling of death will not start disturbing us. So what this verse is saying, that, death can come at any time, and for that what you have to do, you have to start taking shelter from the childhood only, so that we can practice and build our spiritual muscle. Because when we grow old, it is very difficult to build anything, right? Even to build a new habit, normal material habit also is very difficult when we grow old, right? So because of that, you should start from the childhood only. Even Prahlad Maharaj also suggests that, Kaumaram Acharit Pragna. So from the 5 years only, the person should be starting Krishna conscious. So like this, we can build our consciousness, we can let Krishna permeate in our consciousness, so that not only normal material fears, but even the fear of death, that concept of death can come at any time, also will help us to become more and more Krishna conscious. So it makes us more and more purified rather than getting paranoid. So I'll just recite the verse again so that you can meditate on the things which I have shared with you. Nishvase nahi vishvasah kada rudha bhaveshyati kirtaniyamato balyat hare nameva kevalam hare nameva kevalam.